Hello, welcome. How's everybody today? Happy Saturday. Well, let me turn the light up. There we go. Happy Saturday. Welcome to my AMA. Ask me anything. I see a Rev J in the house. Hello. Hey, Jack. Good day, good evening to you. Hello, my dear friend. Good to see you. I have a new virtual background for us today. Very pretty. I had trouble picking actually today. You love out. You love it. Yes. Hey, John. Good to see you. Welcome. You can't type either, can I? Isn't this background beautiful? I love it today. Hello, John Energy Healing. Welcome to you. My friends and fellow seekers, beautiful souls. How's everybody today? Happy Saturday, unless you live in the future, and then happy Sunday. Yes, I was torn. As most of you know, I love my virtual backgrounds. I was torn between this beautiful one and this beautiful one. What do you guys think? This one's beautiful too. You like the blue one? Yeah, that was the very first one that I was drawn to. So, and also I'm wearing a red shirt, so there's a little too much red. There's a little too much red in this one. But what I love about this one is all the beautiful water. Cool, here we are today. Welcome, who else is here? Yeah, the moon is very easy to see here. And there are little butterflies, although you can't see them. They're down in the corner down here. Where? Down in this corner. I'll get my arm out of the way. I actually searched for butterflies today. Yeah, we're going with the first one. By popular demand. Hello, my friends. How are you? Orange ones, you see them? Well, some people are colorblind to different colors too, so it's uncertain what's I never know what colors people can see and not. Hey D, good to see you. Welcome. Happy. What time is it for you? It must be the future now. Oh no, you're in Ireland. Sure, it's late, but it's still today. Wonderful. Good to see you. Let's give everybody time to get in. I'm excited today. I'm curious to see what questions people are gonna have. Did I miss saying hi to anybody? Yeah, I love the moon. Actually, I think I said I searched for butterflies and I ended up coming up with all these beautiful naturescapes. And so that was really cool. Still today. After 9 p.m. Lovely. How are you, D? Is anyone new to me? This is anyone's first time with my lives? This is actually a unique one. Little bit different. We're doing Q&A with me today. Hey, Peter Brook, welcome. Good to have you. Oh, I see Laura. Hi, Laura. Seen you in ages, dear. How are you? Well, feels like ages. Maybe my ages. Peter Brook is one of our friends from the future. Ah, very nice. Who else is here? Say hello. Do you guys have questions already? Don't ask them yet, but I'm just curious if you have questions already. I'm also curious if you can see this faint beard I've been sporting. I don't know if it's visible with the light. I've been doing like one of those really close trim sort of stubble beards. I don't know if anyone can ever see it in the lives. You have, but you've also seen me closely. Manscaping, is that what it's called? Yeah, I've been doing a little manscaping. Cut my hair earlier this week, so I'm nice and short. Yeah, just trying different things. It looks good in the mirror. I just don't know how it looks on video. The bottom right of the screen is twinkling. Maybe butterflies or fairy dust. I believe they're butterflies, but that in my OBS, I don't have the... Yes, I have parts of the zoom window missing. There's some flowers, and there's butterflies flying over the green. I don't have it. Oh, yeah, I don't have it quite on the screen because of the because of my text there. Yay! All right. Who's got a question? Let's get started. We'll just start and other people can join as they see fit. What do you guys want to know? It's an AMA, meaning ask me anything. So Q&A. Hopefully I have an answer. If you're just joining in, say hi, tell us where you're from, tell us if you're new. What is my favorite meal? Yes. Questions that involve favorites are difficult for me. I'm the kind of person who has many favorites depending on the... Depending. It depends. So pick a... Let's see. Are we talking breakfast, lunch, or dinner, Jack? Yeah, the twinkles are there. I just have a little bit off the screen. It's okay. I haven't been called Greg before. That's a new one. So my favorite breakfast is anything with eggs or bacon or sausage or all three in it. My favorite lunch is salads. And my favorite dinner, I have tons of favorite dinners. Burritos, wraps, I love sushi, pasta, veggies. Like I make whatever, or I buy whatever. So I guess I don't really have a... Well, when I was growing up, my birthday wish meal, because mom would say, what do you want for your birthday? And I would always say lasagna. So back then when I was a wee one, I was always asking mom for lasagna. So hello, Anya, good to see you. My favorite drinks are water and smoothies. Yes, Anya. She asks, my question for you, how did you find purpose? Yes, that is an amazing and really good question. All right, tuck yourselves in. It's story time. How did Greg find his purpose? I better take a drink for this one. Thank you, Anya. It's a lovely question. So, oh, I see a Leanne. Hi, Leanne. So, gosh, I don't even know where to begin. I've been on the spiritual path for a long time. I had my first spiritual awakening when I was 18. I'm 60. And it was so freaking scary that I immediately stopped meditating and swore I would never do that again. Then about 6 years later, I had a horrible breakup. It was a long distance relationship. She broke up with me while I was visiting her, and it just wrecked my heart. And I realized that I needed to get some help. And at the time, a friend of mine had been getting I'd been seeing great results from the help she was getting through this really interesting spiritually based outpatient program. And I went and I interviewed for it and I signed up. And that's when they asked me to commit to a couple things on a daily basis or a weekly basis. And daily they were asking, they strongly suggested meditating. So that's when I began to meditate. That was June 1st, 1988. So many, many years ago. And I've always been a seeker, and more so even since starting to do that. But I didn't really, I've always felt like a misfit. Well, until recently, I guess. So I've always felt like I didn't fit into society. So I was always looking for that special thing, that thing that made me unique, that thing that, and at the same time, I was looking for that thing that made me fit in. All right. So that's an interesting contrast, right? Because you're looking for your own uniqueness and you're trying to fit into society. Those two things do not go together. Think of any weird two food combination that you can think of, and it would be similar to that. So there was always this sort of ongoing contrast and conflict in my life as I was seeking, what made me special, but also looking to belong and fit in. And I think where it really started to hit me was, let's see, what time was this? It was in the late 1990s, I think it was 1999 or 2000. I had an internet startup with, at the time, my best friend and business partner, and I was starting to feel disillusioned with the role that I had, and I felt that I was called to something more, and I tried to shift my role around in that company, and it didn't quite work, so I ended up leaving and spending several years. We ended up selling the company, so I sort of semi-retired for about 5 years, and I ended up spending my time going to shamanic ecstatic dance classes, creating, just being creative, really pursuing my creativity. And then all that sort of ended when the money sort of dried up, and I once again sort of began searching for my purpose. I will fast forward to 2022. I was working a job, and it had been a very fulfilling job for me up until the last year. And I kept feeling like I wanted more, that I was meant for something more, and that I was being called to something more, but I couldn't put my finger on it. So I left that job, and I just sort of sat in my meditations and kept asking the universe, like, what am I supposed to do? What's my thing? What's my thing? I felt like there was a thing for me, something to do. And I started to remember that I had this gift in the chakras in my hands that I had called Chakra Touch for over 15 years. And I started seeking help through a spiritual counselor. And one day I started telling him about how I could touch people on their chakras, and that they would just, their whole system and their whole, what if they were like feeling disrupted or uncomfortable or something, they would just completely calm and felt so much love and relaxation. And I kept, I was just telling the story to him about how I felt like something was happening, because I could feel my chakra, basically I could feel my palm chakras activating much more strongly than they ever had. And they were tingling while I was out on my walks, and there was just strange sensations going on, and I could feel something bigger than me saying, "Hey Greg, go this way. Check this out." And I was scared shitless. And he looked at me during one Zoom session and he said, "Greg, you're a spiritual healer." And I was like, ew, I hate that word, spiritual heal. Just the healer word. I really hated it. Hello, Suleiman. Good to see you. Hi, Linda. So, he suggested that I try it out. He suggested that I rent a room, and then I invite family and friends to come and have what I was calling at the time a chakra touch session. And I was really, really resistant to that idea. I didn't want to rent a room. I knew that whatever I needed to do, it had to be work from home. It had to be remote so that I could do it from anywhere I want and help anyone, anywhere, not restricted by geography. At the time I was living in Rochester, New York, and I knew I wasn't going to stay there, so I didn't want to invest any energy, money, or time in something that was local there. But it took me 6 months of walking through and sifting and sorting through the fear until to actually try and offering it, inviting my friends and my family. And they did. And so last March, not this past one, but the 2023, I did a couple different sessions, and that's when I started that's my very first one, was remote. And that's where I found out that I could see people's energy, which I've never been able to see auras or anything. But when I tap in with my hands into their chakras, their energy would start to show me basically a movie, and I would describe it and walk people through it. And I started taking them on journeys. My cousin, she was the first guinea pig, and we completely transformed this negative belief she had about herself. We completely transformed and transfigured it into a superpower for her, which is complete reframing. And it really blew my mind. It blew hers too. And then after a couple of months of doing that, I got scared again. And the spiritual counselor basically had said to me, Greg, you're like standing at a door. You're at the threshold of this doorway, and the door's closed, and it's there inviting you to open it. And someday you will either open it or you won't. And when you do, the floodgates will open, and you'll find out. You'll just find out, right? So there was a leap of faith involved, Anya. It was actually a year ago this month that I said yes to my gift, to the calling. And it's really been a process of many little leaps, big and little leaps of faith, and letting go and surrendering to the calling. It's fascinating because every time I talk about this, and anytime anyone's ever asked me, like in a reading about their life mission and purpose, the mind gets so locked on to needing to know the destination that it forgets that what's important is that we're saying yes in the moment to the journey without knowing. That's the leap of faith, is when we're saying yes to the calling, yes to, we may not even be able to describe our purpose, but when we begin to say yes to it, and when we continue to say yes, and when we continue to ebb and flow, following our intuition, trusting the universe, then it begins to unfold. And I feel like it's taken me just about a year since saying yes to really feel solid in my purpose. In fact, I just actually literally wrote it down and stated it last week. And right now my words are, the way that I say it is that I am here to guide people into the depths of their heart. That's my purpose. It is my belief that when we drop into our sacred energy, when we drop into our hearts, that we can truly break our hearts open and have transformative experiences, that we can skip the words and the thoughts. We just jump right over them, and we go right into the depth of who we are. And that is what transforms our lives, as well as the lives of everybody we come in touch with. So, yeah, I mean, purpose isn't like a destination, I guess, is my big piece of that story. Does that make sense, Anya? It's a long story, but thank you for asking. It's something that is constantly unfolding. If we sit in curiosity and continue to say yes and trust that when we're if we're feeling the same kind of feelings I had, that pull, that calling, that feeling like we're meant for something more, like we have gifts to share, even if we don't know what they are. And then when we start to say yes and take those steps, right? When we show up for ourselves by taking even little baby steps, right? Then the universe shows up for us 1,000-fold and in support of sharing our gifts. And it's a fascinating process, because the path to clarity is very unclear. And so it's also an essential part of it is making friends, befriending uncertainty. And the more comfortable we can become by befriending uncertainty and trusting, right? Because as like Bashar says, we don't know. We just don't know. I have a vision of where I'm going, but I have no clue on what the right steps are necessarily until I know. And then when I know, I take that action. And even if I take an action and it didn't work out right, because I'm I'm a lot of an experimental type of person. I'll try something, I'll tweak it, I'll try something different, I'll try something the same and tweak it a little bit more, whatever. So I actually have to go out there and live it and try it and see what works, right? Some people process and flow and make decisions and do things differently. And I'm not much of a planner. I'm more experiential. So yeah, befriending uncertainty, making friends with that, finding as much comfort and solace as we can, knowing that we're secure. We may be uncertain and unsure. We may be living in uncertainty or in transition, but that we're always safe and that we're always loved and that we're always supported. Trusting that is the hard part when it comes to answering your calling. So let me see what I missed. You guys have been chatting away. Thank you, Anya. Wonderful question. Peter Brooks says, do you have musicians, bands that you love listening to or preferred genre? Right now, I'm totally into ambient music off of YouTube and Insight Timer. It's a fun question, Peter. I do love music. I haven't been as much of a listener to bands and things in recent years, but I was a huge fan of everything that happened in the 80s, because that was high school for me. So the 80s music was just the bomb for me. But I also grew up on classical. My dad loved classical. I love techno, trance, dance music. That was like one of my favorite things to dance to. But I also learned how to dance to pretty much anything through the shamanic dance practice that I did called the 5 Rhythms of Gabriel Roth. So I don't have a favorite music type, but I will say that I am least interested in country. I'm least drawn to that. And I'm not a super huge fan of most of the heavy metal, but there is an occasional heavy metal band that really gets the energy right for me. And I think it comes down to just the vibe and how it feels. Fun question. Thank you. Leanne, so good to see you. Got to watch my scrolling here. Anya says, wow, I'm in awe with your story. I can deeply relate to some of your experience. Oh, that's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Anya. It was a beautiful question. Thank you. Hi, Jerry. Good to see you. So nice to see you again. Who else did I miss? Oh, yes, Linda. Nancy, hi. My good old friend from my old stomping grounds. All right, what else do you guys want to know? I know, Peter, right? It's only been a year. I've only been on Insight Timer since November and only live since December, but it was last September that I said yes. So happy anniversary to me, I guess. Imogen, hi dear, how are you? You resonating? Oh, really? Thank you. I love to hear that. That is super cool. Baby steps is good. And it's different for everybody. I'm the kind of person who often is, how do I explain this? My process is more energetic. In other words, I acknowledge that I require a lot of becoming, right? In order to be where I want to be at. There's a lot of people that, everybody's different. I'm not an act. I'm a become. I'm a become. I'm like, get into the right space energetically, get into the right vibration, get into the right frequency. I go back and forth with all that. I'm in this constant process of unfolding, and then something clicks and things just start happening physically. Like I start taking action. So I guess, to use the words that many people like Abraham Hicks and whatnot use, I get myself into alignment. Now, that's always been my process, even though I wouldn't have called it getting myself into alignment over the years. But I've always noted that, people will say, wow, that happened really quick for you. Well, from their perspective outside of me, that might make sense, but they don't realize that I have been in a process the whole time. I've been in this process of sifting and sorting through thoughts and feelings, trying to, just work things through, but not like in a mental way, just sort of becoming in that process. And then, like I said, something clicks and I begin to take action. Sometimes that click is I let go of an old belief. Sometimes that click is I realize the next step that I need to take. Sometimes that click is just keep showing up for myself on a daily basis in a small way, and something clicks, right? So it can come really from anywhere. But yeah, a lot of people will have often said over the years, like, wow, Greg, that happened really quick for you. Well, no, it took 6 months of fear. right. And maybe I wasn't sharing everything I was feeling with everybody at the time, but then when I'm ready, then the physical manifestation is very quick, right? But for me, sometimes it can take a while to get up to snuff with what's already been created energetically, at least in my belief system. Hi, Maisha, good to see you. Hey, Inga, welcome. What else you guys want to know? Peter loves ambient music. Thanks, Greg. Oh my, we share quite a few. Yeah, I mean, I love music. It used to be a really huge thing for me. Like when I had a car, I was listening to music all the time because I hate listening to the radio. I don't want to hear chatter and I don't want to hear ads. So I just put a CD, or back in the day, I'd put a mixtape in or something. Back in the day. That is true. I was back then. Yeah. So, and lately, even like one of the things that I really love about the video games I play is when the composition of the background music and other music is just really amazing. Because there's just something really immersive for me when the music hits right for me, and I just love that. And that's why one of the reasons that I always want to have background music for you guys. And I pick it special. It's not random. I usually try to pick it based on how it feels. So, yeah. You is asking, how do you process daily annoyances, frustrations? Thank you. Yeah, that is a great question. In fact, I had one this morning. I had a frustration this morning. Yes, I did. I got triggered by something that I read, and then I basically sat with how it felt, and I wanted to take certain actions, and as I was thinking about taking those actions and actually doing a little, I was thinking about I was starting to write something in response to what I'd read, and as I was doing it, I kept feeling myself feeling worse. So, and this isn't a trick. This is a skill, my friends, that anybody can learn. I chose to learn it many, many years ago. And it's basically tracking how a thought feels, a thought or an action feels. So as I was beginning to craft a response, I could feel myself getting sort of pulled into this not so comfortable feeling, right? And I was like, okay, there's something here. Is it mine, or is it somebody? Is it this other person's? Is it mine, or is it from my past? Like, not like from my family's work. Like, what is mine and what isn't? And it was fascinating that you're asking about this today, you, because I basically took the time. I think it was told to me many, many years ago, like 30 plus years ago. Somebody once said, you're allowed to think about your feelings and feel about your thinking. And then later, when I learned about the law of attraction from thanks to Abraham Hicks, that's when I started to understand the real relationship of feelings and thoughts. So that when I recognize how I'm feeling and I honor it, I embrace it, I accept it, I'm also at the same time, based on a commitment and intention that I set many years ago, I'm also acknowledging that it is indicating the direction of my thoughts. Direction of my thoughts meaning, am I focused through the eyes of love, or am I focused through something else? Or as Abraham likes to talk about it, are you looking at it from the perspective of source or the universe, divine, whatever you call it? So anyways, today, what I did was I sat with that. I resisted the urge to write a response. I started crafting it, but I resisted the urge to send it. And I just sat with it. And then I knew at that moment that I was sort of obsessing about it a little bit more than I wanted. And so I knew that I was planning on doing a morning walk, and that if I could sift and sort through it while I was moving, I could move it out, right? And so I went on my walk, and I allowed myself to get pissed off about it, and I realized, oh, I'm angry, I'm triggered, and I'm angry about this. Like, is this mine? Is this somebody else's? Like, no, this is my anger. This has nothing to do with what I read. It doesn't even have anything to do. It doesn't even require a response. And I was like, well, why am I triggered about this? And I talked it out. I basically talked to the universe and to nature about it as I was walking around. And by the end of it, I realized, okay, I know I have a trigger now. I know I have a trigger on that. I've known about this trigger very loosely, but I was like, thank you, thank you to what I had read that had triggered this. And then thank you to having the spaciousness, the time, the awareness to actually sift and sort through it, right? And by the end of it, there was no more emotional charge. And I was starting to walk around appreciating the house fronts and the gardens that these people had made. The shift started when I looked down at some beautiful green blades of grass, and I thought to myself, the grass never gets triggered. And I started to climb my way towards appreciation and love. And by the time my walk was over, I was like waving at neighbors and chit-chatting with people, and I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't angry at them. I was just having a trigger. I owned it. What was an old phrase I used to like? Name it, claim it, and aim it, right? So name it. What am I feeling? Claim it. Is it mine or someone else's? And then aim it. What actions do I need to take? So I named it. I was triggered. I was angry. I claimed it. Was it mine? Was it somebody else's? It's mine, but it comes from my mom, and it comes from my friend Marty. If anybody of you remember Marty, I'm sure a number of you do. So it comes from my perspective of my mom. Oh, there we go. It comes from my perspective of my mom. My beliefs, what I've defined around a certain action and behavior that she had, right? And then I was like, oh, okay. So it is my trigger, but it's an old belief. It's not my belief. Maybe it's another. And then I just worked my way through it. And then I figured out how to aim it by actually taking action, which in this case was taking a walk. I don't need to respond anymore to that because I'm not charged by it. And I don't actually care anymore because I worked through it. Does that help answer your question? Hey Jess, good to see you. Oh, there you are, you. Yes, so helpful. Love that. What I needed to hear. Feels right. Beautiful. Okay, wonderful. I'm glad. Let me just make one more point about that. And I love this question because this has been integral to me. But I actually couldn't develop the skill until I made one very simple commitment. And actually, it's not so much of a commitment as an intention. So back in 2006, I started reading books from Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks and Jerry, and Esther Channel's Abraham. And about a year later, I was in a really difficult situation, once again processing, triggers and fears and things. And I'd heard them say, and I'd read it many times because I used to go to their workshops when I lived in Los Angeles. And I'd heard them say the most important thing is that you feel good. And I had heard thoughts like that and ideas like that before, but I always felt like they were either a little cheesy or flippant. But when I started to understand what Abraham was teaching about the law of attraction and the actual purpose and use, how we could use our emotions, and then I was going through this really scary, really upsetting situation, I woke up one morning and I realized what they meant. The outcome of what I was going through didn't matter to me anymore. I was in so much pain and so much fear and so much worry that I just realized that I just wanted to feel better, even just a baby little bit, even just an iota better. And that's what they meant by the most important thing is that you feel good. You don't have to go from horrible to fantastic. You can go from horrible to a little less horrible, to a little less horrible, to I'm a little disgruntled and maybe uncomfortable. And then eventually you reach this neutrality and this contentment. And then from contentment, you can catch a whiff of hope. They used to talk about this all the time. You can catch a whiff of hope. Once you catch a whiff of hope, like when I looked at the green blades of grass and thought, the grass isn't triggered. So the grass never has a trigger, so, there must be a way for me to not be triggered on this, right? I got a whiff of hope. I got a whiff of beauty. I got a whiff of joy. I got a whiff of, and then I was off and running into a better feeling state. But this all came from a decision in 2007 in which I chose and set the intention that every day, the most important thing was that I find a reason to feel good or better, however you want to say it. Every day, no matter what, no matter who I'm interacting with, no matter what I'm doing, no matter where I'm going, it is my singular intention to find reasons to feel good, to find things to appreciate, to find things to find beautiful, whatever, fill in the blank. It's basically joy, appreciation, love, beauty, whatever. That was an intention I made. And in doing that, I became willing to actually learn the skill of tracking thoughts and feelings. And I'm no pro at it, believe me. I've got many years under my belt with it, and I feel good about where I'm at with it. But I'm just as human as everybody else. I get thrown off. So, extra point there for you, View. Jack, can you see auras? How do you experience other people's energy with chakra touch? I love that question, Jack. Thank you. So, I do not see auras. Weirdly, I see, when I tap into people's energy, I see things. But when I just look at people, I don't see anything except them. In fact, I grew up wearing glasses, and so there's this, and I had nearsightedness, so and that came from being scared of everything. But eventually ended up having LASIK. But I've always had this thing where I had a hard time noting body language cues and other stuff. I've had quite a challenge. If I don't hear it, I've had quite a challenge noticing whether somebody's interested in me as more than just a friend or anything. It's been hard for me because I don't pick up on these cues very easily. I'm learning slowly but surely, but also when it comes to just people, I'm much more sensate. I'm much more feeling. So I could walk into a room and I could feel a certain quality. It's always been on an emotional filter, and then come to find out, since emotions are just energy in motion, right? I was always just sensing things energetically. So an example is when I was younger, I could walk into a room and I knew that maybe there was something weird going on, like there was some bad gossip or something. I would feel uncomfortable, I would feel awkward, I would feel weird. And I didn't understand it back then. I didn't have anybody to guide me or train me on what these sensitivities were about. And so when I was younger, I personalized it a lot. I made it personal. I took it personally, right? Because I didn't know how to interpret these sensings and these feelings. But as I got older and continued to medicate, I did medicate before I meditated. I did medicate, not with drugs, with food and alcohol. But once I started to meditate, my awareness started to expand. I started to understand myself better. And over time, as I had more experiences and was more and more intrigued and curious about energy and the actual energetic dynamics that exist behind anything, a thought, a feeling, an action, a behavior that people, whatever interactions between two people, I began to be more sensitive to it. And the whole chakra touch thing just happened in a dance class. A friend of mine had suddenly stopped dancing, and I knew that she was uncomfortable. I knew she was distraught in some way. I don't know whether she was in pain physically or whether her heart broken or something. And I was just inspired to dance over to her, and I laid my hands on her chakras, like the heart chakra, the front and the back. And all of a sudden, I didn't even do anything. I just was present. I was just loving her because I cared about her a lot as a friend. And then it's like her energy started, I just intuited she needed grounding. So I lowered my hands down to her belly in the back of those chakras down at the base of the spine, right? And then I felt like she was overthinking and she needed not grounding, but and I wasn't adding any energy or taking anything away. I was just being present. And after class, she said, "Greg, what was that?" And I was like, I don't know. I was just loving up your chakras. And she said, it felt amazing. I felt so calm and peaceful afterwards and so much love. And I was like, well, I was just loving up your chakra. And she goes, thank you. How long were you actually standing there? And I said, maybe a minute or two. And she said, it felt like forever. So that's when I started to realize, oh, this is kind of a fun, cool thing that I can do. And I called it chakra touch. But it didn't really develop into anything until I started sensing the activation in my palm chakras in 2022. And then when I said yes to actually trying it out, and that's when I started to develop skills in energy healing and reading around it. And so, yeah, it's funny because even though I've never been able to see auras or see energy, I've known about it, like ley lines and the lines that connect us as individuals and throughout society. And I've played with that a little bit at times, you know, but I'm also very visually oriented. Like a lot of my work, well, I'm visually oriented. Look at the virtual background. I'm visually oriented, right? But because it's an experience, it all boils down to me being experientially oriented, not as much idea oriented. I like ideas too, I should say. But anyways, a lot of my work has been visually oriented. I did a lot of visual design, you know, in technology and graphic arts type of stuff in the past. So, which is fascinating. I love the visual stuff, but I've never ever seen auras or I've never seen energy. I hope that someday I can see energy. That would be cool, but I don't even require it. I like that I can just feel it. So beautiful question, Jack. I love that. You also said, how do you experience other people's energy with chakra touch? It's, when I do the chakra touch, when I do my energy readings, I tap into people's chakras and as I said earlier, which I didn't fully explain, their energy begins to show me images, sounds. Mostly what it does is it shows me the quality of the movement. And if the energy in a particular chakra is stuck, I will see images like walls or blocks or a container that is holding something precious. And then I just listen, really. And because I'm not giving energy or taking energy or moving energy, because I am simply guiding you or the individual on how to use their own energy. Super important. Learning how to use your own energy. Absolutely. I can't emphasize how important that is. If you are interested in that, obviously you have to be interested in doing it, but I'm just guiding somebody with that imagery. And what has been fascinating about this for me is that somehow I've come up with a way to be able to help that person get out of their mind, to skip over all the thoughts and analysis, to be completely present with that energy. And then if it's a really icky, yucky, blocky energy, sometimes, I mean, we've seen anybody here who's had readings with me and gone on journeys, very specific journeys. These are either personal ones for them or the ones that we do as a group together. But the personal ones can be really profound because for some reason, we're able to skip over all the words and the thoughts and get right to the point of allowing and embracing and being present with whatever that ickiness is. And when we do that, my friends, we're dropping into our heart space. We're dropping into love. We're loving that thing. And we've all heard it. You know, love yourself exactly as you are. All right. Well, this is actually a really energetic way to do it. And then the blocks just clear up, and maybe not permanently, but you know, and then beautiful things are revealed. Somebody got a compass. Something turned into a butterfly for somebody. I don't know, Peta, what was one of yours? You had some amazing things get revealed. Yeah. Cool question. Thanks, Jack. Medicine to the soul. Hi, Stacy. Good to see you. Welcome. Let's see, Rev J says, yes, Abraham Hicks Emotional Guidance Scale. Yep. Thank you, Jay. Emotional Guidance Scale. If you've never heard of it, go Google it, look it up. It is incredibly valuable to understand. And I could talk about it forever. Was life-saving for you too? Oh, okay, cool. That's how you opened. I love it. Yeah, that was my huge transformation. When I learned about Abraham Hicks, I shifted what I was doing in my spiritual practices and just went in a whole new direction. And ever since then, I've met channels and gotten, just a huge unfolding. Yeah. Stacy, That is the mindset that is enabling me to survive my chronic illness. Yay! I love hearing that, Stacy. Got it. John. Ooh, long question. Have you had your human design chart done? Absolutely, John. I am a 1-3 emotional projector. I did mine last year, John says, and my cognition is feeling, and that's how energy shows for me too. Oh, cool. Learning that in my chart was very transformational for me. I always thought my feeling or hyper-awareness was due to childhood trauma and my mom being alcoholic. You know, John, you're bringing up a really good point by sharing that. And thank you so much for sharing your own experience. I had very similar interpretations, as I sort of alluded to, or maybe I was specific. Like, I took a lot of things personally as a kid, and even as a young adult. And if you're struggling with taking things personally, I am going to massively, hugely recommend reading or listening to The 4 Agreements from Don Miguel Ruiz. That changed my perspective on a ton of stuff, because one of the agreements is don't take things personally. And it was, I mean, I could probably count on one hand I don't read much anymore, actual books, but the number of books that have been life-changing for me, right? So Song of the Bird was my very first transcendent experience, meditating to some of that stuff. That's by Anthony DeMello, a mystic to the core. He was a Jesuit priest who was just incredibly mystical. Don Miguel Ruiz is The 4 Agreements. That was just amazing. So simple, so straightforward, very shamanic. I was totally into shamanic things when I was reading that, so it was totally in alignment. And then Abraham Hicks, Ask and It Is Given. That book, Ask and It Is Given, which is not biblical at all, which sounds biblical. That book was the very first time I had ever read anything. And I was a voracious self-help reader through my 20s and 30s. I had eventually let it go. But that was the first time I had ever read a book where I felt that there was absolutely zero human ego. It blew my mind. I felt no agenda. I felt pure love. And even when I was reading things that Abraham was saying that felt like confrontational, like, oh, I sense that that's me. I sense that I'm doing that thing, and that's where my pain and suffering is coming from. I never felt judged. So it was easier for me to read that and read about these different dynamics, which now I understand as energetic dynamics, because it's all energy, it's all frequency, it's all vibration. I was able to read those and feel the truth without any external judgment, and therefore I didn't have to judge myself. I was just like, oh, that's why I get so upset sometimes. Oh, that's why I manifest so quickly sometimes. Oh, there were just so many little boom, oh, light bulb. So I highly recommend, if you struggle with taking things personally, if something happens and you immediately take it on, Don Miguel Ruiz, The 4 Agreements. Absolutely. You're reading that again right now, Peter? I love that for you. I love you guys. You get so interesting questions. John, thanks again just so much for sharing that. It's so easy when we're younger, right? When we don't understand any of this, right? It's easy to be like I've known people in my family and outside who are just like, who the word sensitive is a trigger because of all the judgment they've received, right? And let's think about this for a moment. For me, it's a superpower now. When I was younger, it was a trigger, right? I hated people calling me sensitive. And when I was in my 30s, I hated when women called me sweet. Now it's a compliment, but I hated that for some reason. And what was it? It all boils down to beliefs, what we define. And back then, I believed that sweet was like some sort of negative thing, right? And then somebody explained to me, no, you don't understand, Greg. For women over 30, sweet's a huge compliment. I was like, why? And she actually had to explain it to me. And then I was like slightly enlightened about what it meant. And then I realized, oh, wait a minute, I am sweet. Why am I upset with somebody acknowledging something that I appreciate about myself? I'm a sweet guy. I'm a nice guy, and for a long time, and that was just because at the time I was judgmental about myself because of my belief systems, right? So her explaining this different perspective actually helped me see myself in a new light. And yeah, she wasn't interested in me romantically, but she helped me understand something that was, that was a really pivotal, I guess, another pivotal thing for me. So yeah, when we, it's so easy when we're younger, when we don't understand. This is the point I was trying to make. It's so easy when we're younger, or when we just don't understand or aren't seeing clearly, to judge something that actually is good about us as being bad. To judge it, right? And that's all that's happening. That's all that's happening. Oh, I love how Bashar talks about this. I've seen a bunch of videos from him lately about him saying about how when we're not embracing and accepting everything as it is right now, we're actually invalidating ourselves. Mind-blowing concept, because we are basically, everything outside of us is just an extension of us. It's just not an extension, a reflection of our thoughts and our thinking. And so when we resist and we fight and we insist and we judge those things that are happening around us in our life, we're actually invalidating who we are. That's powerful. All right, you guys have been chatting some more. Let me see what I missed. John says, it opened my eyes to it a lot, Maisha, and really helped along some of the thinking and beliefs. Yes, very, very cool. Yeah, I'd love to be there too. Look at the beautiful waterfalls. I love that background. Very, very cool. How do you get your chart done? Yeah, John's, okay, you're just chatting about. Jess, you can actually Google free human design body graph or body chart, anything on the internet. Now, some of them ask for your email and some of them don't. One of my favorite teachers is on Insight, or human design people is on Insight Timer. Her name is Vanessa Naja. And another great resource, Vanessa Naja. Another great resource is Kyle. Am I type this right? Kyla Mason? Am I getting it? You guys know who I'm talking about, right? I think it's Kyla. Kayla? I think it's Kayla. Did I say her? I'm sorry, Kayla. I think it's Kayla. I'm not sure if I'm getting the first name right. Sorry. Help me out, guys. I know some people were just at her live the other day with me, but I'm so caught up in story time. Yeah, I mean, with human design, just like anything else, guys, you got to find somebody who resonates with you, because there are so many people doing human design. And in my personal experience of reading and researching it, some people, I get on their website and they're immediately like, there's a paywall for information, and I just feel like they're just trying to grab money from me. And then other times, and that of course is my belief, but other times I can't understand what people are saying. So for me, I've had to find people whose wording is very accessible and really resonates with me. So Vanessa has been great for that. I've got a number of people I follow on Instagram that have just some great human design stuff. And I have to agree with John. Getting my chart done and really looking into and understanding my human design more and more has been truly revolutionary for me. Revelational? I don't know the right word. All right, let's see what else you guys are saying. Pamela is the teacher. Oh, okay, absolutely. Kayla Mason, Inga. Yeah, thank you, Inga. You typed it before I even did. Oh, Miko Opportunity. She's nice too, but yeah, Vanessa's my favorite. I don't know Kaylin Bree. So many people, so many of them. You have a deck of cards for the 4 agreements, Stacy? Ooh, I would love an oracle. I would love a 4 agreements oracle deck. Does that even exist? Oh, I love that, Stacy. Thank you for that idea. I might have to go look those up. Second time today I've seen Adam heard Song of the Birds. Guess I better read it. Yeah, Song of the Birds is a very mystical book written by Anthony DeMello. Beautiful man, very mystical Jesuit priest. I don't know if you know about the different Jesuits are like an order of Catholic priests that are separate. They're part of the church, but they're their own order. There's Vincentians, Jesuits, etc., etc. Anyways, he has studied a lot of Buddhist, Zen, and other mystical thoughts, Christian mystics, just a bunch of cool stuff, and he put it into that beautiful book, and it inspired me to meditate. And I actually had my first out-of-body transcendent experience meditating to a meditation in that book. There's lots of parables, like Chinese and Indian parables, or Japanese parables as well. Just a lovely, beautiful, beautiful book. You just started reading the Four Agreements again, Juju. Yay. Oh yeah, I read them about 15 years ago too, maybe a little longer. Hi Kimmy, good to see you. There's no such thing as late, you know that. Anya, what would you have wanted her to say rather than sweet? Well, that doesn't matter to me anymore. Back then in my 30s, I was interested in her romantically. She wasn't, come to find out, but I was wanting to hear like some sort of indication of attraction. I didn't understand that for her, she was attracted to sweetness. So her explaining that was very helpful to me to see beyond my limited way of thinking about what was, about attraction. That actually opened me up to exploring what my different qualities, what I brought to the table. I was doing a lot of dating in my 30s and really experimenting and learning about it. That was hard. But I learned a lot. So I learned much more about who I am and what I bring to the table in that regard. And a lot of that is thanks to embracing my own qualities, right? Literally, it was like night and day. Like, instead of having a trigger around being called sweet, I now actually, after she explained it, I just went, whoop, switched, and then I appreciated every time somebody called me sweet. It was fun. It was a nice switch. John says the other thing that helped change my thinking as a manifest. Oh, you're a manic Jenny. Oh wow, very cool. I have a lot of energy. I do things that light me up, and that can change a lot. I had my mom's judgmental voice in my head from second grade saying, "Why you quit everything you do? It's just who I am as an MG and lots of energy." Yeah, MGs, aren't they? Is it Manny Gens, or is it, now Kayla would know because she was just talking about this earlier this week. Manny Gens, it's either Manny Gens or manifestors who just have lots of different projects going. I think it's manifestors. You're welcome, Jess. Thank you, Nancy. Yes, love it. All right, let's see. What was out of print, Jay? Oh, affirmation cards from Don Miguel. Oh, okay. Stacy got yours from Hay House. Okay, good to know. The Manny Gens of, yeah. Oh, you are too, Jay? Manny Gen. Nice. I am a projector. I am a projector. I am here to guide all of you generator types. The manifestors are here to inform us, to share all sorts of info. All right, what else you guys want to know? Oh my God, look, it's been about an hour. You're a projector too, Maisha? Very cool. I love being a projector. I didn't at first, but I am, it is growing on me, very much so. I don't have lots of energy. I don't. I've really embraced, I'm sort of sitting back now, hopefully. Well, now you guys can see the moon and the waterfalls better. I don't have a lot of energy. I can give a lot of energy. I can funnel and channel a lot of energy, but I am not the what do you call it? I'm not the ever ready bunny. What is the Energizer bunny? Which one's the bunny? Energizer bunny? Yeah, whatever. You're a Manny Gen too, Kimmy? Okay, cool. It's helpful. I think the most important thing for me from human design was learning my strategy around my energy type. I love that human design was basically assessing my energy, not my personality. Very huge difference, my friends. Human design is about your energy type and your strategy for actually living your life. So when I started to learn about my strategy, that was super cool. Then when I started to learn about my authority, which my personal authority is emotional, that just made sense. I've been living emotional authority pretty well most of my life, because that's been my primary way of processing life. It's been my primary filter, the way in which I see things. Emotions to me are truth, even though they always change. They're more truthful, they're more authentic to me than anything else, I guess, over the years. Maybe authentic's the wrong word. Anywho, and then the latest thing I've been learning from human design is what's called your profile. It'll be a fraction, like 2 numbers. Mine's a 1/3. So been learning a lot lately about that, and really trying to accept more and more those the aspects of my profile. And then there's other amazing things. Human design showed me, didn't even know this, human design showed me that my actual digestive system runs cold. And so if I eat hot, warm, or warmly spiced foods, it gives more heat to my digestive system and allows better digestion. But when I eat cold things, if I eat too much cold stuff, I can't process it as well. It's fascinating. So there's just lots of different things about human design. You're a 2/4, John. Very, very cool. Oh, and so's Maisha. The easy breezy genius. That's amazing. Inga is a manifester. I can start many projects too, but in urges, while many gens have the energy to go. Right. Yeah. Well, any generator basically has that ever-renewing battery. Manifestors and projectors, I think, don't have that. But I'm not a human design pro, so I don't always remember things quite. Oh, thanks for checking, Stacy. I appreciate that. Imogen, thanks for the question, Imogen. Good to see you. What are your thoughts on ego integration in terms of the ego splitting off the greater being, getting challenged through life experience, and then needing to get reintegrated in a balanced way? It's a process, and I'm curious about your take. I've never heard ego integration as a term, but I will just riff off of that. So yes, this is a cool question. I like it. So to me, and from what I've been taught and what I have learned for myself, I really like this question. Thanks, Imogen. The ego is just a facet of the function of the mind, and the mind is a reflection of the function of the ego. Either way, I'm not super concerned with specifics. But for me, there's basically 2 things. There's the mind, and then there's the heart. And my understanding of those 2 and my experience of those 2 is that the mind can be really, really incredibly powerful. And it is fascinatingly great as a tool, but horrible as a leader. So when it's running the show, when it's trying to figure things out, it's basically, I can actually energetically, physically sometimes, I can actually feel the difference of when I'm trying to lead my life from my head versus my heart. My biggest thing that I've learned about the ego is that it's usually looking for data points. It's looking for guarantees and assurances. It's basically my inner child. I mean, the ego and inner child are interchangeable in my mind, from what I've learned for myself and from what I've been taught. And the inner child is always concerned with, am I going to be safe? Am I going to be secure? Am I going to be loved? Is what I'm wanting going to be there? And it's almost like the child where I get into trouble is when my inner child is trying to adult. Basically, when my inner child is trying to be responsible and run the show. And that's really tough for it to do, because it's always coming from fear. It's always coming from worry. It's always coming from concern about whether it's going to be safe, secure, or deeply loved. And for me, what I've come to learn is I spent a lot of my life fighting that. And my path has been one of embracing and allowing. And it's been so important and integral for me to drop into my heart, because one of the things I've recently learned is that the mind is our minds, our thoughts, our thinking is our 3D mind. It's the physical mind. It is not connected to our higher self mind. Our higher self mind we access through our heart and our intuition. And so the beauty of this is that when we recognize the difference and then embrace and accept, huge believer in allowing things to be. My favorite phrase from my very first spirit guide, Dr. Peebles, was, we encourage you to allow all things to be in their own time and place, starting with yourselves. And it's a powerful statement. I said it quite slightly wrong. We encourage you to have loving allowance, loving, very important part of it, loving allowance for all things, very important as well, loving allowance for all things to be in their own time and place, starting with yourselves. And this I've thought about for a long time, many years. I first heard it about 15 years ago. And so for me, the reintegration part is, I look at it as I call it a lost soul fragment. So when we have something that happens from our youth or when we're younger or even as adults, and it's too much for us to handle, or we don't have the skills yet, or we're not ready, or we haven't grown spiritually, or had enough time on the planet yet. What I believe is that we break off a fragment of our soul and we store it away. We tuck it away for safekeeping. It's lost, but it's still part of us. And then when we're older, more mature, ready, more refined, more grown, maybe we've meditated longer, whatever the timing is, right? We get to this point where we actually can look at it again and we can reintegrate it. For me, it's not a mental process. It's a heart process, because that loving allowance and the presence, being present with it, for me has been integral. And I haven't had anything reintegrate, resolve, or restore without reaching a place of presence and love and allowing for it, because it's part of me and it's energy. There's nothing wrong with it. Like getting past the judgment mentally is really hard, because for me, the mind is always trying to analyze and figure something out. But when I drop into my heart and I'm just like, oh, look, there's that part of me, that was hurt when my mom or dad said this or that. There's that. I recently worked on something with a friend in energy healing where I had this dream that Batman and Robin and the Man in the Moon came down and tickled me, and it scared the crap out of me. And I was like 4, maybe 5. I didn't understand it. And I went down into the living room where all the adults were gathering. And in retrospect, I think they were drinking and having a party. And when I told them what happened, they all laughed at me. And I formed a belief in that moment. I don't have it anymore because I've worked to let it go and to reintegrate it, or actually reframe it. But I formed a belief at that moment that I could not trust those who were supposed to keep me safe, that they would not support me, that they wouldn't understand me. And it wasn't a thing about authority. They were my parents who were supposed to comfort me and support me and guide me. And they didn't. All the adults laughed. So I created this we're talking a 50 plus year long belief, right? That was, until recently, blocking my trust of the universe, blocking my trust and belief that the divine would support me unconditionally. Because as a child, I didn't understand the divine. I had no concept. I knew about God, but I didn't really understand the divine. I didn't understand the benevolence and the universal generosity, love, and abundance of the universe, right? I didn't understand that unlimited, exponentially unlimited love, right? Instead, all I saw were my parents, and they basically shooed me off to bed. And I had slept on my stomach up until that point, and I was so scared that, and it's ridiculous but fun, but also, I have a lot of compassion for that, for who I was back then. I was so scared that Batman and Robin and the Man in the Moon, Batman and Robin I trusted implicitly, and they came and they tickled me in the night. I was so scared that they would do it again that I slept on my back for like 10, 20 years or something like that. It was crazy. Come to find out now, right? Old belief developed, old experience. I'm a different person. As Bashar says, when we're thinking of a past memory, we are literally having the memory of a different person. If we have become a different person now, literally, energetically, physically, we're a different person. So when we're remembering something from the past, it's not our memory. It's that other person's memory. It's that little 4-year-old Greg's memory. It's not mine anymore. I'm not that same person. So we can reframe it from that reference point, from that perspective that it is not my memory, that I'm sharing a memory with that child who I was. Wow, I can reframe it. So now I reframe it. Now I'm starting to believe or think that it wasn't Batman and Robin and the Man in the Moon, but that it was actually the first introduction to my guides. Because I've known for years that I was a very sensitive child spiritually, but it's just like when the Indians in America saw the ships coming from Europe. They'd never seen, free mast schooners and all that. They didn't know what they were, so they interpreted it the best way they could. Great question, Imogen. I'm not sure if I got so much to the ego part, but we could talk about it more another time, perhaps. How was that as an answer? Stacy drew a card for me. Oh, always do your best. I love that. Practice makes the master. I agree. By doing your best over and over, the art of doing your best, the habits, miss your word, taking things personally, and making assumptions. Oh, yeah. I forget the one about your word. Yeah. And making assumptions will become weaker and less frequent. I love that. Your cold digestion too? Oh, mine's hot. Or was it called cold? I forget, John. Typos happen. You're on a mobile device or whatever. I have trouble typing, Stacy. I get it. It's all good. Yeah. Have you met Rev J? Typos are her middle name. I speak typos all the time. Thank you for the stars, Imogen. Did that answer your question? Need for security, such an override sometimes. Yeah, absolutely. I have a feeling we're going to talk a lot more about this, Imogen. Yeah, almost like a trauma split and then back to heart courage. And I'm just going to reemphasize since the biggest thing for me has been that allowing, that creating, holding a space in my heart of love for those parts of me that in the past I used to see as broken. But they're not broken. How can they be broken? It's all energy. It's all love. We're not broken people. We may have our challenges. We may have our struggles. Hell, I got triggered this morning. Big deal. I'm human. I got a benefit from it. I made it something beneficial. I chose to make it something beneficial. There's so much about personal power and sovereignty in that as well. When we view our soul fragments as wrong or bad, or when we resist them, or we shy away from them, or we shun them, or whatever, we're just invalidating ourselves. Let's just vow right here today to do our best, to set an intention to just validate ourselves, right? Even those parts that are ugly and uncomfortable, they just want love. They just want love. They want love and acceptance. That part, when we tuck a soul fragment away from when we were younger, when I had that dream and those adults didn't accept me or understand me, all I wanted was comfort and support through a traumatic, for me, as a 4-year-old at that moment, it was scary as shit. And so I tucked away that little fragment that didn't get that love and that support and that comfort, right? There's nothing wrong with that little fragment wanting that. In fact, it's really sweet when you think about it. That little 4-year-old, right? It's so sweet when you really think about it from the perspective of just love and acceptance. Yeah, the most powerful things ever. Don't be sorry, Stacy. You relate to that. Don't be sorry. I appreciate the attempt at the sentiment, but don't be sorry. Celebrate. Celebrate my awareness with me, Stacy. Please, celebrate it. It's kind of like when I watch Bashar videos and somebody says, oh, I just had this horrible thing happen. And Bashar goes, congratulations. I love it when he says it. Congratulations. How exciting. You have an opportunity to learn something. I mean, it's really, I'm sure that it might bother some of the people who ask when they're having a moment, but Bashar's very loving as well, as is my guides and everybody else's guides. They love us. They love us implicitly and perfectly. They love us implicitly and perfectly, and most importantly, unconditionally. Hugs for young Greg. Thank you. Yes, lots of hugs. Imogen, we're taught that we need to work hard for approval, and it gets misinterpreted as love. Yeah, which is supposed to happen naturally and effortlessly. I agree, my dear. 100%. 100%. I love that. I love that. All right, more questions, my friends. We have about 15 minutes left. Have you met me? I have, Rev J, and I love you. It's easy to love Rev J. Juju, I'm not broken and in need of fixing. I'm wounded and in need of healing. Juju, you're not even wounded. You are perfectly whole. What you might need is to reintegrate because some of your parts have been a little bit scattered or fragmented. But you're not wounded. You're whole. You're beautiful exactly as you are, Juju. That's the thing, my friends. It's hard to accept. I know. It's been a lifelong journey for me. I still have my struggles with it. But we didn't come to this planet to shit on ourselves. We didn't come to this planet to fight who we really are. We came to learn who we are, to embrace it, and to learn every day as best we can, because we're never going to be perfect at it until we die, but as best we can to learn how to reconnect with Source, where we came from. And we do that right here, through the heart, because it's all about love. There are frequencies that are higher than love. We don't have access to them right now. I'm a firm believer at this point in humanity's existence that the single most important calling that we have is to learn how to live from our hearts so that we can live fully from love, and do that as consistently as we can. And when we do that more and more consistently, we raise our vibration, and by doing that, we are going to reach frequencies in which we will then gain access to the frequencies that are higher than love. And I don't know what they are. They haven't been told to me. I asked somebody about it 15 years ago, and they confirmed that there are frequencies and vibrations higher than love, which blows my mind because from my life experience, love feels like the highest. But now that I know that there are other ones, and my council, the Council of Seven, the guides that I work with, they actually represent 7 different energies, the first which is of love, and I have intuited that they are here to teach us what those other frequencies are. But we're not ready yet. It's not time. There have to be enough people on the planet who are consistently practicing viewing through the eyes of love, viewing everything, ourselves first and foremost, like Dr. People said, loving allowance for all things to be in their own time and place, starting with ourselves. The more often we can practice something like that, then we're all going to be at a frequency high enough where then we're going to be able to perceive and gain access to these other frequencies. And for me, that's pretty exciting because I'm very curious about what they are. I'm very, very curious about what they are. So, all right, let's see what you guys are saying. I love Bashar too. Stacy says, Greg, I dreamed about the bag that I received in our last. Oh, yeah. For the, the journey that you had. Yeah, the pouch. I forgot that was you. Thanks for the reminder. I got the message that it was actually a part of me. I wonder if it's a soul fragment being returned. It very well could be. It could be a lost soul fragment. We've had that many a time on a journey when we do soul fragment journeys. Yeah, Many times those are found in containers or they're little beings. I love that. Congrats, Stacy. It sounds like that's unfolding. I made you blush, Jay. That's cool. Thank you, my sweet friends. Jessica, Greg, what does make you happy nowadays, or something new you are trying, or both? Oh, Jess, I love that question. What is making me happy nowadays? Me. My decision, my intention to feel good no matter what. And that's not a flippant thing. I know it's easy to listen to that and be like, oh, that's about the power of positive thinking. No, it's not. It's an intention. And what the intention is about is accepting that I have the power of choice of how I view things. And when I'm struggling with how I view things, when I'm struggling with seeing it in a different feeling way, accepting that I am seeing it the way I am. So, but in terms of activities and things, the ideas and things that I'm dreaming up for my life's work. I've got a workshop coming. Until I find my next home, because I'm actually having to move. Not having to move. That's not how I want to say it. I'm getting to move. I am on the next leg of my adventure. And I don't know what location I will land yet, but I am super stoked about it. And I'm very excited. And I'm really excited about this workshop. This has been something I've been dreaming up since March, and I want to offer it in November. So I'm really, really happy about that. I love playing video games. They bring me so much joy. It's like actually being in a movie in which I am contributing to the unfolding of that experience. I love anything immersive. Like even talking with a friend, like in any capacity, can be incredibly immersive. Like the experience of another person is really, really cool. I'm actually having a lovely conversation with somebody right now that is making me happy. And there's so many things that can make me happy if I look at them and choose to think of them that way, you know? I'm really loving how my gift is unfolding and how I've been embracing that. I started off with doing energy readings, and now we do these journeys. And I've had this vision for years about standing on a stage in front of hundreds or thousands of people and doing something really profound for them and with them. And I finally understand what that is. It's me taking everybody in the room on a journey, a journey into their heart. And so those make me happy. Really yummy food makes me happy. Like when I take a bite in something and I'm just like, oh my God, this is so delicious. That really makes me happy. But again, it all comes down to how I'm doing it. I love my morning walks too. I really love my morning walks. I love doing lives with you guys. I love getting together with you guys. There's so many things that make me happy. I have a simple life. I'm a simple man. I have complex thoughts sometimes. Try not to get myself too confused. But I'm a simple man, and I enjoy the simple pleasures. Does that answer your question, Jess? Yeah, thanks. I am really excited to see where I'm going. Not just that. I'm excited to be where I'm at. Like I'm on this verge of my whole, not just the business, but like my whole spiritual path is unfolding in this powerful way. Like I can't wait to do more journeys with you guys. And you guys only get a smattering of it here on Insight Timer. For the folks who've been able to actually come and sit on the Zooms. By the way, Celebrate Love Party next week, October 2nd. That's a Zoom event. You are all warmly invited to it. You can sign up for it right here. It's free. Well, it's donation based, but essentially free. And it's an opportunity for all of us to get together. It's a sacred energy journey with the theme of love. And they've been incredibly meaningful, incredibly, like when we do it on Zoom, it's just so personal and so intimate and so deep, and it's just really beautiful. It's lovely. We're building a great community here, and I'm also happy about that, Jess. So many things to be happy about. Thank you for the question. Stacy, I'm excited to hear more about your pouch. I'm glad that you are seeing it as a part of yourself. Because it is. It's your energy. Yeah, it's an image, but it was your energetic journey. You just went into your sacred energy. So you have glimpsed something new for yourself, and it's exciting to see how it'll unfold. Agree, it's coming, Greg. Peshma reports the same. It's here already. I'm just waiting for all the alignment and show up. But thank you. I appreciate Peshma's confirmation of that. Yeah, it's exciting. I'm really excited to see. I'm excited to how I keep saying to see, but that's as though I am looking forward to what's unfolding. But the proper way to express this is I'm excited to be experiencing the unfolding of all this. Because this is like dream come true for me. And it's not a dream that I've ever concretized. I've never been able to fully envision it, like what somebody was asking earlier about how I found my purpose. That's the unfolding, right? I'm happy about the unfolding. I'm happy about the actual experience here. And I'm so excited to find my next location because I'm totally have set the intention that I'm going to have amazing morning walks. I'm going to have powerful meditations. I'm going to have tons of inspiration for launching new projects and workshops and ideas. And I'm in the middle of rebranding, so I'm rewriting all of my profiles and copies. I haven't changed anything yet. I'm just doing it. So it's a very exciting time for me as I think about what's next. The very first time that I found out that October 14th was my final day here in Utah, I was scared. I was nervous, but it took a day or 3 days maybe, and then I realized, oh, this is what I'm wanting, and this is exciting. This is feeling good. So I'm staying focused on that. Kimmy, I've been looking at the star. Kimmy asks, as a starseed, do you look at the stars in wonder and awe? Kimmy, I have been looking at the stars ever since I was a kid. We would go on camping vacations. I hate camping, but actually, maybe I don't hate camping. I hated it in the past, but maybe I am able to let go of that definition. Oh, I do hate bugs though. Anyways, we used to lay on the picnic table, even in the backyard, without going on trips. We'd lay on the picnic table and just look up at the stars. When I was very, very young, we also used to go to the planetarium in Rochester, New York. If you've never been, you guys know what planetariums are. We'd go to the star shows, and I just loved them. And of course, I also love Star Trek and Star Wars and most sci-fi. So the stars are fascinating to me. I used to study the constellations. I had this beautiful paper. I don't know what they call them, but it was like a square thing, and there was a circular thing of the sky of the constellations, and I would lay down and I would try and position it and then figure out which ones were which. I was absolutely fascinated by Orion, which is interesting. And then I studied astronomy a little bit in high school. I probably should have gone into astronomy for college. That would have probably been, had I known about following my excitement, which is something I've been learning from Bashar. Had I known about following my excitement back then when I was in high school, I probably would have gone to study astronomy in college because of everything else. That was probably the one class that I loved the most in high school. So yeah, I do look at the stars, although I'm not out at night much anymore. But like even in my video games, I'm fascinated by the stars. And my favorite virtual backgrounds have stars in them. Like look at this one. Where's this one? Oh, I love this one. Just love it. This sense of cosmic whatever. In fact, last night I rewatched my favorite recent Star Trek episode. Just love it. Makes me so happy. Is Hannah here? Hannah, you're here. Good to see you. Yay, our friend Hannah's here. Stacy, so glad I found this community. I'm glad you're here too, Stacy. It's good to have you here. Creating my cool avatar? Yes. Oh, PETA. That's right. PETA got to watch me make a character in one of my video games the other day because of our new Discord community, which I invite everybody to join. That's also free. It's a beautiful spot. You can share images, videos, links to inspiring things. I've been sharing links to Bashar videos because I've been really loving his lately. But yeah, you're all welcome. Check it out here. It's like got way more features than Insight Timer is even ever probably going to have. So it's a really, really lovely community space for us. Optional, not required, but I'd love to see you there if you have, and as well as our what do you call it, our Patreon community group. Hannah, how you been, dear? What's going on? Yes, Peter's wondering how it's going for you too. Yeah, the night sky was amazing. Hannah says it's been going well. I've been offered a job as a counselor. Life has not slowed down lately. Oh, wow. Okay. Kimmy, you have a telescope? Oh, that sounds fun. You're a member of the Astrological Society. Why am I not surprised? Big sci-fi loony. Absolutely. Welcome to the club. I think I'm a Syrian starseed. Peter and I were having an email conversation about some of this. Well, you're Pleiadian, aren't you, Peter? Is that what you determined? I think I found some resources that helped figure out what kind of starseed you are, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think I'm Syrian. Oh, you've seen 8 shooting stars, Hannah. I don't get to see those very often. That must be really lovely. Thanks, you. I love this background. So cosmic. Okay, Jay, take care of your pup. Hannah, I'm glad you're mostly good. I'm glad. Yay. Warms my heart. I know you've been in transition too. Oh, you're welcome, you. It's funny to call you and say you're welcome and all. That's pretty cool. Yeah, absolutely, Jay. Jay's got a live coming up on Monday. Tell us about it. Before you go. Monday, September 30th at 4:44 Eastern Time. Yes, short for you can do this. I did notice that. Oh, Hannah thinks she's Pleiadian too. Explains the music. Yes, it just might. I don't know enough about starseeds yet, but I love the concept. Monday, 4:44 p.m. Eastern Time. 32 years recovery, telling my story. All right, if anybody is curious about Jay's recovery story, come join us. I will be there on Monday, September 30th. 4:44 p.m. Eastern. Is there one final question before I go? I am starting to feel my energy wane, and I'm going to be ready for some delicious supper soon. I have enjoyed this thoroughly. I am recording it, so if you want to go watch it again, it'll be up on YouTube. Well, maybe not tonight, because I have some fun things that I want to do. It might be up tonight. Yeah, maybe I'll put it up tonight, but not put chapters in it, because it feels like a little too much work for that right yet. Maybe I'll put chapters in tomorrow. Anyways, Jay, did you want to share more about that live? Yeah, bon appetit. Imogen, I will be talking to you soon. Kimmy, thank you so much. Anyone have a final question? One question before we go? Oh, I'm glad, Stacy. So nice to have you here. Peter gotta go too. Greg and all, a cooked breakfast awaits. Oh, sounds yummy. Oh, Peter, let me know if you're having more freedom to talk about our idea, both our aspect and then also the bit with Jay. I still have to check with Insight Timer about that. What's for dinner? Oh, and my favorite nighttime ritual. Maisha, that's a good question. What's for dinner? It's a bit of a smorgasbord. There's some leftover stroganoff that my house hosts made the other night, and I didn't want it to go to waste because I loved it. So I'm mixing that with rice, some vegetables, and maybe some meat. And then I'm having a delicious Maxine's Heavenly. Okay, if you like cookies, I know Rev J can't eat these. Maxine's Heavenly. If you like cookies, but you like gluten-free and low sugar and non-GMO and really homemade delicious, Maxine's heavenly. I have been really digging those lately. I'm having double chocolate chunk soft baked cookies, so they are very good. Yes. Favorite. Oh, I'm glad, John. Thanks for being here and helping make it a great live with your sharing and wonderful, wonderful presence. Oh, Kimmy's having Vegemite. Well, you're having breakfast. Maisha asked, your favorite nighttime ritual? I haven't had a nighttime ritual until recently. So, Rev J hooked me up with a colleague of hers, who does the hypnotherapy that Jay got trained in. And so I was able to get some sessions from that. And so a new, I guess you call it a ritual, practice has been listening to my self-hypnosis audio before I go to bed. And that's been really, really powerful. Other than that, probably my favorite bedtime, nighttime ritual / practice comes from Abraham Hicks. And that is the 30-day appreciation game. And that's where you, as your head hits the pillow, as you're preparing for sleep, you run a list through your mind of all the things that you easily appreciate. So think about, I don't know if you've ever taken my, or listened to my love bomb track. Think about it like you're doing a love bomb every night. And so what you're doing is you're setting your vibration up into the state of appreciation so that when you wake up in the morning, you are naturally in that state, right? Because when we sleep, we reconnect with source and we go back to the oneness and everything, and we have whatever we dreams and whatever. And then what we do in the morning with the 30-day appreciation game is then we run through that list or a new list through our mind of things that we appreciate. And we're really just trying to cultivate that vibration of love, because love and appreciation are the same vibration, which, by the way, gratitude is a lower vibration than love and appreciation. Very, very close, but it is a lower vibration. So I prefer focusing on love and appreciation and joy. But yeah, so that's a great question, Maisha. I don't have a lot of rituals other than I play games with my friends. I listen to music, and I do need a little wind down time. Sometimes I watch a favorite show. Oh, lately Dancing with the Stars is back on, so I've been watching that on Tuesday nights. Anyways, I'm getting all goofy now. Stacy says, I want you all to appreciate your ability to eat food. Yes, I agree. Love every moment of it. I no longer can eat, and I'm on liquid nutrition. It's hard to adjust to, I bet. But you know, there might be a benefit. Find a benefit in that, my friend. Maybe that's your pouch. Finding a benefit in the things that are challenging and difficult. Integral hypnotherapy. Thank you. I always forget the name of it. I know that it is a very special kind, and I have appreciated it. Imogen does it too. Rev J and Imogen also took the same class. Was it the exact same? Were you guys in the exact same course at the same time, or were you staggered? You want to try doing what, Hannah? 30-day appreciation game? Ooh, moon water out of electrolytes to inject directly into your port. Oh, that sounds cool, Stacy. Oh, cool, Maisha. That's neat that you're curious about nighttime rituals. Yeah, my rituals have been more morning. I have a very long morning routine. I take my time. I don't rush. This is why I can't work a 9-to-5 job. I need spaciousness as a projector, as a Gregor. Yeah, so I take a long time in my morning. So my morning really sets the tone, but the 30-day appreciation game is really powerful for getting the tone set right off the bat. So have these self-hypnosis audios been. They really set the tone for the morning, even just doing the night one and then doing the morning one. Really, really cool. Oh, you took it together. Okay, you took medical support after her, not all. Oh, okay, got it. Rev was your North Star? That's cool, Imogen. 30-day appreciation game, Hannah. Okay, very cool. You know, my practice with the 30-day, my experience, I should say, with the 30-day appreciation game is that I don't even get through the list at night when I'm on the head on the pillow. I don't get through the whole list and I fall asleep, and next thing I know, I'm waking up in the morning. It's actually aligning with appreciation is incredibly powerful. So maybe we'll do, do you guys want to do a group 30-day appreciation game? When is October 1st? Tuesday? Do you guys want to do it? 30-day appreciation game? Starting Tuesday, October 1st? Yes. Okay. So here's how you do it, and then we're going to wrap up because I'm getting tired. Anybody can participate. So every night, I'm going to have to adjust my schedule so I can do my self-hypnosis audio and the appreciation game, because the appreciation game usually, either one puts me to sleep. Anyways, so here's how you do it. So when you lay down in bed, this could be right before, it depends on how tired you are, I think, but I like to do it when I put my head on my pillow, right? So as you lay down, you run through your mind a list of things that are really easy for you to appreciate. So when we're talking about appreciation, we're not talking about thanks or gratitude. We are talking about things that you love. So for example, you usually don't hear somebody say, I'm really grateful for my orange juice. No, they say, oh my God, this orange juice is delicious. That's an indication of appreciation, an indication of love, of joy, right? Of excitement, as Bashar says, passion, right? These are higher vibrations than gratitude. So you're looking to make a list of those things, and they need to be easy. It might easy to think of and feel that way when you think of them. Let's put it that way. So it could be very, very simple things. At one point, it was my pillows. Those were the best thing I could think of during a really challenging time. So it can be very, very simple. It can be a person, place, or thing. If you want to get a sense of how to do this, listen to my Love Bomb track. And then that's exactly the kind of thing that you want to do. And you do that at night as your head hits the pillow. And then the minute you wake up, as you are waking, you make that same list or a new list. It could be a brand new one, because you might have thought of new things when you wake up, right? And the list can be different every single day. And you do that at night as you go to bed, and in the morning before you even throw your feet on the floor, before you throw your legs over the side of the bed. And then as you go through the morning, or even through the whole day, this is not a requirement of the game, but is really helpful. You just try to remember those things. You try to bring them up. Like when I go on my walks, I'm looking around for things that I appreciate, so that I can get into that vibration, so that I can cultivate that space in my heart and free my mind from the thinking. So let's do it. All right, 30 days, October. We're doing it for October. Oh, the distinction between gratitude and appreciation. I can do that right now, Maisha, if you want. There's nothing wrong with gratitude, but there are some lower vibration aspects to it that I have personally chosen to no longer focus on. But let me explain that. All right. Yeah, so whoever wants to do the 30-day appreciation game, we're starting October 1st. You can start sooner if you want. It is very helpful and beneficial. So we're going to start Tuesday, October 1st. And anyone who's planning on doing it, I would encourage you, if you haven't already, to join either the Discord or my Patreon group so that we can support each other and talk about it. It's really important. I've done this personally and individually, but to do it as a group, it's so nice to have that communal support. There's times if you're new to this practice, you can get stuck. I get stuck even though I'm not new to this practice. There's times that it's hard, like after 7 days, sometimes it can be hard to continue on for the next 30 days. And you don't have to make a 30-day commitment. You just make a daily commitment, 1 day at a time, doing that. So yes. All right, so gratitude and appreciation, and then I'm gonna go eat because I have to meet my gaming friends after supper. Anyways, so if you look at the emotional guidance scale from Abraham Hicks, I don't know if I can find it really quickly. You're gonna do it, Stacy? Great, you'll join Discord this weekend. All right, that's cool. The instructions are in my link tree there. Abraham Hicks emotional guidance scale. Yes. So yeah, so at the very top is joy, appreciation, empowered, freedom, and love. And just under that is passion. Actually, that's not on the scale. Sorry, this is my own thing. I'll just talk about it from my own place. All right, so what I determined is that, I spent 20 years in a 12-step program. There's a lot of focus on gratitude there, and it is super, super powerful and a great place to start. But the thing that I noticed for me in regarding to gratitude is that I was often having gratitude. Oh, all right, let me backstep. So what Abraham Hicks teaches and what I learned from them and other entities and people is that the topic of the stories that we tell is very important to pay attention to, right? So because the topic of the stories and the things that we say and tell are indicative of what our mind is focusing on. And we get to know by our emotions what we're focusing on. So what I experienced with gratitude was I would often say, I'm really grateful that this X, Y, or Z thing didn't happen. I'm really grateful that my experience at that job didn't get worse. I'm really grateful, blah, blah, blah. And it is a good thing. But when you think about what the topic of that story is, I'm saying I'm grateful, but the focus is on the bad thing that didn't happen. Okay? So I found that a lot of times, and not always 100%, but a lot of times, gratitude has a sort of past, sort of backwards looking perspective. And I spent years making daily gratitude lists. The other thing is, for me personally, because gratitude is not as high a vibration as love, joy, passion, freedom, and excitement, because of that, making these lists did not generate as good a feeling as I wanted. They became stale. It became robotic to make a gratitude list. Now that's possible even in doing an appreciation game. It's totally possible. But because of this sort of split focus of how I was feeling when I focused on gratitude and what I was thinking about when I focused on gratitude, I started to learn that it felt better for me to focus on those things that were purely joyful, appreciation. And that's when I started to realize, I love burritos. You're never going to hear me say, I'm so grateful for this burrito. That doesn't even make sense. I'm so grateful for this food that I love. No, I love it. I love it. Like when Jess asked about what makes me happy, I listed a bunch of things that I love. So there's a distinction there for me. It's not a big energetic difference. Gratitude is a great stepping stool to love and appreciation and joy. But for me, I've made it a personal choice to focus on the joy and the love because I want to go to the highest vibration possible. Does that make sense, Maisha? Does that answer your question? Yeah, Juju, if you go up to can you see the link here? It might be covered in you might need to turn the phone sideways or something. You go to yaygreg.com. There's going to be a link there talking about joining our Discord community. And then there'll be that'll take you to the instructions that the directions for following it. Try to do your best to follow the directions. If you have trouble with it, please reach out to me through an email. It's fairly straightforward, but not everybody is as much technical acumen as other people like me. So yes. Maisha, appreciative joy is one of the heart practices of Buddhism. Yes, totally. Very cool. Appreciative joy. Yeah. I love that. All right, my friends. I can feel my voice fading and I'm tired. We went almost 2 hours. I love you all so much. It's so good to have you here. How many people? 128 souls celebrating love. Yes, Our Celebrate Love Party is coming this Wednesday, 2 p.m. Mountain. You can sign up for it here. My next live is next Saturday. We're going to do Spirit and Soul. You're going to pick between either a spirit walk or a soul journey to recover a lost soul fragment. I have a feeling we're going to do a soul journey. I might just make it that way. And then I'm moving on the 14th. Not moving, because, I mean, everything's packed already, and I just have 2 bags, and that's it. But it's not really moving when you're sort of traveling, adventuring. Anyways, I will be in a new location by that day or sooner. So I'm not sure what my live schedule is going to be for October, because I am manifesting great internet at the next location as well, just as good as I have here. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for your presence and how spacious and beautiful your hearts are. You are all beautiful and amazing. You inspire me when you show up and you ask great questions about anything. And I will see you all very soon. I'm going to send you out to the outro. Bye, Hannah. I'm so glad to hear that things are going better for you. And thank you to everybody for your questions. I loved it. It was so much fun. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Sign language for I love you. And I will see you all very, very soon. Bye.